On a starry night in the magical kingdom, Disney princesses Cinderella, Ariel, Belle, and Moana gathered for a special sleepover at Cinderella's castle. The castle was adorned with twinkling lights, and the garden was filled with the scent of blooming roses. Excitement buzzed in the air as the friends shared stories and laughter. As the clock struck midnight, a soft glow appeared outside the window. Ariel's curious nature led her to peek outside. "Look," she exclaimed, pointing to a shimmering trail of moonlight in the garden. Belle, with her love for adventure, suggested, "Let's follow it and see where it leads." The princesses grabbed their cloaks and tiptoed through the castle. They followed the moonlit trail that led them to the edge of the enchanted forest. Moana, known for her bravery, took the first step into the forest, with the others close behind. As they ventured deeper into the forest, they heard the gentle rustling of leaves and the soothing sounds of a nearby stream. The trail finally led them to a hidden glade where a magnificent tree stood, its branches shimmering with golden leaves. There, they met a mystical owl who spoke in a wise and gentle voice. "Welcome, princesses. I am the guardian of the enchanted forest," the owl said. "This tree holds the magic of the forest, and tonight it needs your help." The princesses listened carefully as the owl explained that the tree's golden leaves were losing their light, because a special crystal hidden deep within the forest had been taken by mischievous sprites. Without hesitation, Ariel offered, "I'll swim through the stream to find the crystal." Moana added, "I'll follow the call of the ocean to guide us." Belle, always ready to help, said, "I'll use my knowledge to seek clues." Cinderella, kind and determined, said, "And I'll make sure we stick together." With their combined strengths, the princesses set off on their quest. Ariel's swimming led them to an underwater cave where the sprites had hidden the crystal. Moana's connection to the ocean helped them navigate the cave's twists and turns. Belle's intelligence helped them solve the riddles that guarded the crystal. And Cinderella's leadership ensured they worked as a team. At last, they retrieved the crystal and returned to the glade. The owl thanked them, and as they placed the crystal back into the tree, its golden leaves began to glow brighter than ever. "The magic of friendship and bravery has restored our forest," the owl said warmly. The princesses returned to the castle just as the first light of dawn appeared. They knew their bond had grown even stronger through their moonlit adventure. And as they drifted off to sleep, they dreamed of the many more adventures they would share together.
Once upon a time in a land far, far away, lived a little boy named Timmy. Timmy loved to explore and discover new things. One bright and sunny morning, Timmy's magical friend, a talking fox named Felix, appeared at his window. "Timmy, let's go on an adventure to Alphabet Land," Felix exclaimed with excitement. Timmy's eyes sparkled with curiosity, and he quickly grabbed his backpack. As they stepped through the magical portal, they were greeted by the first letter. A was a friendly apple tree that waved its branches cheerily. "Hello there. I'm a 4-apple. Welcome to Alphabet Land," the tree said. Timmy and Felix greeted A and continued their journey. Next they met B, a bubbly blue butterfly. "Hi, I'm B for butterfly," she fluttered around Timmy. As they wandered further, they encountered C, a cheerful cat playing a violin. "Hello, I'm C for cat and sometimes, also for the sound of a violin," the cat purred. The adventures continued as they met D the dancing dinosaur, A the eager elephant, F the friendly frog, and so on. Each letter had its unique character and taught Timmy a new word starting with its letter. More than just fun, each character shared a story or demonstrated an action. H for horse gave Timmy a ride, showing him how high he could jump. K for kite flew high in the sky, teaching Timmy about the wind. M for monkey swung from trees and handed Timmy a bunch of bananas. As they reached the end of their journey, Timmy and Felix met Z, a zany zebra with zigzag stripes. "You've met all my friends," said Ziggy the zebra. "Do you remember all the letters now?" Timmy nodded enthusiastically. "Thank you, Felix. And thank all your friends." With a wave of Felix's paw, they found themselves back at Timmy's bedroom. Timmy opened his notebook and began writing the letters he had learned. With every letter, he scribbled a small drawing to remind him of his adventure. And from that day on, Timmy practiced his alphabets with joy, remembering the fun he had in Alphabet Land. And so, Timmy and Felix had many more adventures, but none were as magical as the time they learned the ABCs together. Once upon a time, in a cozy little village nestled at the edge of a vast and mysterious forest, lived a young girl named Luna. Luna was no ordinary girl. She had the gift of seeing magic where others couldn't. She could hear the whispers of the wind, see the smiles of flowers, and feel the heartbeat of old trees. Her very best friend was a tiny mischievous fairy named Pip, who loved to play tricks and giggle at everything. One sunny morning, Luna and Pip decided to explore a hidden corner of the forest they'd never visited before. As they ventured deeper, they stumbled upon an old, enchanted garden guarded by a curious glowing gate. The gate shimmered in all the colors of the rainbow, and a soft warm light spilled through its bars. "I think there's a secret behind this gate," whispered Luna excitedly. "Let's find out," giggled Pip, flitting around in excitement. To their astonishment, the gate opened on its own as they approached. Inside, the garden was filled with sparkling flowers that seemed to hum with life. There were bushes with candy berries, and in the center stood a giant, ancient tree with a door in its trunk. "Look at that tree," Luna exclaimed. "It must be the guardian of this magical place." With a gentle push, Luna and Pip opened the door and stepped inside the tree. To their surprise, they found themselves in a magical library filled with books that floated in the air. A wise old owl named Oliver hooted softly and landed on a perch beside them. "Welcome, young adventurers," said Oliver. "This is the heart of the enchanted garden, where the magic of nature is recorded in these living books." Luna and Pip spent hours exploring the library and learning about the wonders of the natural world. They read about talking animals, singing rivers, and dancing mountains. They discovered that every book held a spell that could bring a part of the garden to life. Enthralled by their new knowledge, Luna decided to try a spell. She opened a book titled Butterfly Breezes and spoke the incantation aloud. Suddenly, hundreds of colorful butterflies filled the air, fluttering around them in a joyous dance. Pip joined them, giggling with delight. "This garden is amazing," Luna said, her eyes shining with wonder. "But we must promise to protect its secrets." Oliver nodded sagely. "Remember, the magic of this garden thrives on kindness and respect for nature. Share it wisely."
Mr. Bean and the Mysterious Red Balloon. Once upon a time, in a bustling town full of quirky characters, lived the funniest man anyone had ever known, Mr. Bean. He was a bit clumsy and always seemed to find himself in the most unusual situations. One sunny morning, Mr. Bean woke up with a big smile on his face because today was Farmer's Market Day. Excitedly, he got dressed in his usual brown suit, grabbed his teddy bear, Teddy, of course, and headed out the door. As he strolled through the market, Mr. Bean's eyes caught sight of a big, shiny red balloon floating above a stand. It seemed to have a life of its own, swaying and bouncing in the gentle breeze. Mesmerized by the balloon's movement, he decided he had to have it. He approached the stand and traded a few coins for the enchanting red balloon. Happy with his new floating friend, Mr. Bean tied the balloon to Teddy's arm so that they could all enjoy the market together. However, things took a hilarious turn when a gust of wind blew the balloon, and it began to float away, taking Teddy with it. Panicking, Mr. Bean ran after them, dodging stalls and weaving through crowds, his arms flailing wildly. The chase led him into a series of comical mishaps. He stumbled over a fruit stand, sending apples and oranges rolling everywhere. He got tangled in a fisherman's net, and even scared a flock of chickens, which clucked loudly and scattered in every direction. Determined not to lose his beloved Teddy, Mr. Bean finally reached the balloon, which had gotten stuck in a tree. He climbed the tree, his legs wobbling like jelly, and carefully untied Teddy. With a sigh of relief, he held his teddy bear close and then climbed back down, clutching the red balloon triumphantly. As Mr. Bean walked back through the market, covered in feathers, fruit peels, and bits of fishing net, everyone couldn't help but laugh at the spectacle. Mr. Bean, always the good sport, gave a big, goofy grin and a wave. The whole town agreed it was the funniest farmer's market they had ever experienced. And from that day on, Mr. Bean's adventure with the mysterious red balloon was told and retold, making everyone laugh out loud. And Mr. Bean? He learned to keep a tighter grip on Teddy and always keep an eye on windy days.
Once upon a time, in a faraway swamp, there lived an ogre named Shrek. Shrek loved his privacy and spent his days scaring off anyone who dared to come near his swamp. One day, Shrek's peaceful life was interrupted by a group of fairy tale creatures who had been banished from their kingdom by the evil Lord Farquaad. They sought refuge in Shrek's swamp. Annoyed by the intrusion, Shrek decided to visit Lord Farquaad and demand that he take back the fairy tale creatures. Along the way, Shrek met a talkative donkey named Donkey, who insisted on accompanying him. When Shrek and Donkey arrived at Lord Farquaad's castle, they learned that Farquaad would only remove the creatures if Shrek rescued Princess Fiona from a dragon-guarded tower. Shrek and Donkey set off on their quest and eventually reached the tower. Shrek fought the dragon while Donkey distracted it. They managed to rescue Princess Fiona and escape. As they traveled back to Farquaad's castle, Shrek and Fiona began to develop feelings for each other. However, Fiona was hiding a secret. She turned into an ogre every night due to a curse. When they arrived at the castle, Lord Farquaad revealed his true intentions. He wanted to marry Fiona to become king, but he didn't care about her curse. Shrek realized he loved Fiona and interrupted the wedding. With the help of Donkey and the fairy tale creatures, Shrek defeated Farquaad and confessed his love to Fiona. Fiona revealed her ogre form, and Shrek accepted her as she was. Fiona's curse was broken, and she remained an ogre permanently. Shrek and Fiona returned to the swamp, where they lived happily ever after, surrounded by their friends. And so, the once lonely ogre found love and friendship, proving that even the most unlikely heroes can have happy endings.
Once upon a time, in a peaceful pond surrounded by lush green grass and colorful flowers, there lived a duck family. There was a proud mama duck named Della and her 5 fluffy yellow ducklings. The smallest and most curious of the ducklings was Daisy. Daisy had a little pink bow on her head and loved to wander. One sunny afternoon, while Mama Duck was teaching her ducklings to swim in a line, Daisy spotted a shiny butterfly. It had sparkly blue wings and danced gracefully in the air. Oh, how Daisy wanted to follow it! Without thinking, she waddled away from her family, her tiny webbed feet flapping in excitement. The butterfly led Daisy through the tall grass, around the big oak tree, and past the colorful flower beds. With each hop and flutter, Daisy followed, her eyes sparkling with wonder. But as the butterfly floated away into the sky, Daisy suddenly realized she was all alone. The tall grass seemed taller now, and the big oak tree looked even bigger. Daisy's heart pounded. Where was her mommy? Though Daisy felt a bit scared, she remembered what Mama Duck always said: "Stay calm and quack loudly if you get lost." So Daisy took a deep breath and quacked with all her might. "Quack! Quack!" she called. Just then, a friendly squirrel named Sammy scampered down from the oak tree. "Hello, little duckling. Why are you quacking so loudly?" Sammy asked. "I'm lost and I can't find my mommy," Daisy said, tears filling her eyes. Sammy gave her a warm, reassuring smile. "Don't worry, we'll find her together. Let's start by retracing your steps. So Sammy and Daisy waddled back past the flower beds, around the big oak tree, and through the tall grass. Along the way they met a wise old owl, Oliver, who could see far and wide. Hoot! Hoot! I saw a mama duck looking for a little duckling just beyond the tall grass, Oliver said. With new hope, Daisy and Sammy hurried in the direction Oliver pointed. Finally they heard a familiar voice. Daisy! Daisy, where are you? It was Mama Duck. Daisy's heart leapt with joy. Mommy, I'm here, she quacked. Mama Duck rushed over, scooping Daisy up with her warm feathery wings. Oh, Daisy, I was so worried, she said, giving her the biggest ducky hug. Daisy promised never to wander off alone again, and thanked Sammy and Oliver for their help. They all returned to the pond, where the other ducklings greeted Daisy with cheerful quacks. From that day on, Daisy stayed close to her family, and always remembered the adventure she had when she wandered away. And of course she never forgot her trusty pink bow or the friends she made along the way. The end. Once upon a time in the kingdom of Luminera, there were 3 princesses named Alara, Felicity, and Celeste. Each princess had her own unique talent. Alara was as brave as a knight and loved adventure. Felicity was kind-hearted and had a talent for talking to animals. Celeste was wise and loved solving puzzles. One sunny day, the 3 sisters were playing in the palace garden when the royal advisor brought alarming news. The enchanted forest, which protected their kingdom from dark forces, was losing its magic. The ancient spell that kept it alive was fading. The only way to restore the magic was to find the Heartstone, a mystical gem hidden deep within the forest. Without hesitation, the 3 princesses decided to embark on the quest. Alara led the way with her courage, Felicity comforted the forest creatures with her kindness, and Celeste used her cleverness to solve the riddles that blocked their path. As they ventured deeper into the forest, they encountered the mischievous forest gnomes. The gnomes tried to trick the princesses into giving up, but Celeste solved their riddles, impressing the gnomes and earning their help. The gnomes guided them to the Whispering Willow, a tree that could only be awakened by the song of a pure heart. Felicity, with her kind soul, sang a beautiful melody that woke the tree. The Whispering Willow revealed that the Heartstone was guarded by the fearsome Dragon of Shadows. Undeterred, the princesses continued their journey. At the dragon's lair, Alara bravely stood before the dragon, ready to fight if needed. But Felicity, with her gift, spoke gently to the dragon, learning that it was lonely and sad. Celeste, with her wisdom, realized that the dragon needed a friend. The princesses offered their friendship, and in return, the dragon gave them the Heartstone. With the Heartstone in hand, they returned to Luminera and restored the magic to the enchanted forest. The kingdom was safe again, and the 3 princesses were hailed as heroes. They learned that bravery, kindness, and wisdom were powerful tools, especially when used together. And so, the princesses and the people of Luminera lived happily ever after.
In a cozy little house nestled at the edge of a forest, lived Tom, a clever gray cat with a knack for mischief. Sharing the house with Tom was Jerry, a tiny brown mouse whose quick wits and agility made him a formidable match for Tom. Despite living under the same roof, the two shared an endless game of cat and mouse, each day bringing new tricks and adventures. One sunny morning, Tom woke up with a mischievous glint in his eye. He had devised a new plan to catch Jerry once and for all. Tiptoeing to the kitchen, he set up an intricate trap using a piece of cheese and a cardboard box. Confident that Jerry would take the bait, Tom hid behind the kitchen door, waiting for his prey. Meanwhile, Jerry emerged from his mouse hole, his nose twitching as he caught a whiff of the delicious cheese. Suspicious of the sudden treat, Jerry carefully inspected the area. He noticed the strings and pulleys attached to the box and realized it was another one of Tom's traps. With a sly grin, Jerry hatched a counterplan. He found a small mirror and positioned it just right to reflect the sunlight onto Tom's face. Tom, squinting and distracted by the sudden burst of light, lost his balance and tripped over his own trap, ending up under the cardboard box himself. Jerry chuckled and decided to teach Tom a lesson. He tied the strings of the trap around Tom's tail, ensuring he wouldn't escape easily. With the cheese now in his possession, Jerry scurried back to his hole. Later that afternoon, Tom managed to free himself from the trap, feeling both embarrassed and amused. He knew he had underestimated Jerry's cleverness once again. But instead of feeling defeated, Tom felt a sense of camaraderie with Jerry. After all, their playful rivalry made life in the cozy house exciting and full of surprises. As the sun set, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink, Tom brought a small piece of cheese to Jerry's mouse hole as a peace offering. Jerry peeked out, wary at first, but then saw Tom's genuine gesture. In that moment, they both realized that their game of cat and mouse wasn't just about tricks and traps. Once upon a time, in a lively town full of fun and laughter, there lived a clever cat named Tom and a cheeky mouse named Jerry. They were always up to some kind of mischief. One sunny day, Tom and Jerry were wandering around when they stumbled upon a big, colorful factory with a sign that read, "Cheese Factory." Jerry's eyes sparkled with excitement. "Oh, Tom! Imagine all the cheese we could ever dream of," he squeaked with joy. Tom, who was always ready for an adventure, nodded eagerly. They both sneaked into the factory through a tiny window. Inside the factory, there were machines whirring and conveyor belts running, with cheese blocks of all sizes and shapes. Jerry's mouth watered at the sight of wheels of cheddar, Swiss cheese, and mozzarella sticks. Tom, on the other hand, was fascinated by the large metal machines. As they tiptoed through the factory, they heard footsteps. The factory manager, a grumpy man named Mr. Grumble, was making his rounds. "Quick, hide," whispered Tom. They ducked behind a giant cheese wheel. For a while, they watched Mr. Grumble checking the machines, whistling a grumpy tune. Once he left, Jerry couldn't resist the cheese any longer. He started nibbling on a piece of cheddar. Suddenly, an alarm went off. Tom and Jerry were taken aback. Red lights flashed, and a loud siren echoed through the factory. "Intruder alert," blared a robotic voice. They knew they had to escape before they got caught. Tom grabbed Jerry and darted towards the exit. But the door slammed shut. "Oh no, what do we do?" Jerry squeaked. Tom glanced around and spotted an air vent. "Up there," he pointed. Jerry scampered up first, and Tom followed. However, squeezing through the vent was harder than they thought, especially with chunks of cheese in their paws. They crawled and crawled until they finally saw daylight at the end of the vent. They tumbled out onto the grassy field outside the factory, exhausted but safe. "We made it," Tom panted. Jerry grinned, holding up the cheese chunks. "And we got the cheese." They both laughed. From that day on, they became legends of the cheese factory, telling their tale to their friends as the greatest adventure ever. And who knows? Maybe one day they'll find another fantastic place to explore. The end.
Once upon a time in the magical land of Pixie Hollow, lived a tiny fairy named Tinker Bell. Tinker Bell wasn't like the other fairies, who could paint flowers or make rainbows. She had a special talent for tinkering, fixing, building, and creating wonderful gadgets from old, forgotten things. One sunny morning, Tinker Bell decided to explore the enchanting Bluebell Forest. She heard whispers of a hidden treasure buried deep within the forest that could amplify a fairy's magical powers. With her trusty tool belt and glowing green wings, she fluttered off on her adventure. As she flew deeper into the forest, she stumbled upon a fluffy, talking squirrel named Nutty. Nutty had bright, twinkling eyes and was always in search of nuts, but today, Nutty was in trouble. "Oh, Tinker Bell, thank goodness you're here!" Nutty exclaimed. "I've lost my way and can't find my nut stash. I'm so hungry. With a twinkle in her eye, Tinker Bell knew just what to do. Pulling out her handy map, she said, "Don't worry, Nutty. Together, we'll find your nuts and maybe discover the hidden treasure too." They journeyed through the forest, following the scent of fresh nuts and the giggles of mischievous pixies. They passed sparkling streams and fields of glowing mushrooms that lit up as they ventured by. Along the way, they met a grumpy old owl named Professor Hoot. Professor Hoot loved knowledge and offered Tinker Bell a riddle in exchange for a clue to the treasure's location. What's bright in the night, yet dull in the day, and shows you the path when you've lost your way? Tinker Bell and Nutty put their heads together, and soon figured out the answer: the moon. Delighted, Professor Hoot gave them a golden feather, a key to unlocking the treasure chamber. Finally, after what seemed like an endless journey, they arrived at an ancient, gnarled tree. At its base, they found Nutty's nuts hidden in a secret hollow. "Look, Tinker Bell. My nuts," cheered Nutty. Nearby, a faint glow revealed a hidden door. Using the golden feather, Tinker Bell unlocked the door, and found the treasure, a radiant crystal that made her wings shine brighter than ever before. Tinker Bell and Nutty returned to Pixie Hollow, their hearts full of joy and stories to share. The hidden treasure not only amplified Tinker Bell's magical abilities, but also brought new adventures for everyone. From that day on, Tinker Bell continued to tinker, creating even more marvelous inventions to help her friends. And every evening, as the moon shone brightly, she remembered the magical adventure in Bluebell Forest, where she proved that with a little curiosity, teamwork, and kindness, anything is possible.
Once upon a time, in the bustling city of Monstropolis, there was a company called Monsters Incorporated. It was run by friendly monsters who generated power for their world by collecting children's screams. But don't be scared. The monsters weren't mean, they were just doing their job. The energy was needed to keep their city bright and happy. At the heart of Monsters Incorporated worked two best friends, a big, blue furry monster named Sully and a tiny, one-eyed green monster named Mike. They were the top scarers of the company, collecting the most screams from kids. But their lives changed forever when they met a little girl named Boo. One night, Boo wandered into the monster world through her closet door by accident. At first, Sully and Mike were terrified. Children were considered toxic in Monstropolis. They tried to hide Boo and get her back home without anyone finding out. But something amazing happened. The more time Sully and Mike spent with Boo, the more they realized that children's laughter was even more powerful than screams. Boo wasn't scared of them, she thought they were funny and sweet. Sully and Mike decided to change everything. With Boo's laughter, they went on an adventure to show Monstropolis that laughter was the key to a brighter future. They faced several challenges, including dealing with the sneaky Randall and the bossy Mr. Waternoose. But Sully and Mike's bravery and Boo's giggles won the day. Monstropolis was transformed into a city powered by laughter, and Monsters Incorporated was never the same. Sully and Mike became heroes, proving that friendship and laughter could change the world. Boo returned safely to her world, but she always remembered her monster friends. And every night, she would giggle when she thought about their silly, friendly faces. And so, Monstropolis thrived on joy and giggles, teaching us all that happiness is the strongest energy of all.
Tom was a lanky boy with wild, untamed hair, always wearing a striped shirt and patched trousers. He was known for his mischievous grin and quick wit. Jerry, on the other hand, was a tiny kid with a heartwarming smile, always in his yellow dungarees and carrying his trusty slingshot. They were best friends, despite their constant banter and pranks on each other. One sunny afternoon, Tom and Jerry decided to explore the old, abandoned mansion at the edge of town. Rumor had it that the mansion was haunted, and no one had dared step inside for years. Tom, always the daredevil, challenged Jerry to a bet. Whoever chickened out first had to do the other's homework for a week. With a determined nod, Jerry accepted. They sneaked past the rusty gate and tiptoed through the overgrown garden, their eyes wide with excitement and fear. The mansion's creaky door groaned as they pushed it open, revealing a dimly lit hallway covered in cobwebs and dust. Each step they took echoed through the hollow corridors. As they wandered deeper, they stumbled upon an old library filled with ancient books and scrolls. Tom's curiosity got the better of him, and he started flipping through the pages, oblivious to Jerry's warnings about curses and spells. Suddenly, the bookshelf shifted, revealing a hidden passage behind it. With a mix of bravado and hesitation, they ventured into the secret tunnel. The passage led them to a basement filled with strange gadgets and potions. Tom accidentally knocked over a flask, releasing a puff of colorful smoke. To their astonishment, an old wizard materialized before them, his beard flowing like a waterfall and eyes twinkling with mischief. "I am Merlin," the wizard declared, "and you have awakened me from my slumber." Tom and Jerry exchanged nervous glances, but couldn't suppress their curiosity. Merlin, amused by their bravery, decided to grant them a single wish. Tom, ever the prankster, wished for endless supplies of candy. Jerry, with a twinkle in his eye, wished for the ability to fly. Merlin chuckled and granted their wishes with a wave of his wand. Tom found himself holding a bottomless sack of sweets, while Jerry floated into the air, his feet no longer touching the ground. Their excitement turned into a whirlwind of adventures, flying through the town and sharing candy with everyone they met. As the sun set, they returned to the mansion, where Merlin gave them a piece of advice: always cherish your friendship and use your gifts wisely. With grateful hearts, Tom and Jerry promised to uphold his words. As they left the mansion, they realized that their bond had grown stronger, and no amount of mischief or adventures could ever break it. From that day on, Tom and Jerry used their newfound abilities to spread joy and laughter, becoming the town's beloved heroes.